Hey, this is Mike Abominator from Ruin, Vrenth, and Gasp. You are experiencing Poppitt's Corner.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome, episode 101 of Poppitt's Corner. Yes, we brought back the alumni on the show for 100 episodes later, almost maybe 20, because he was on, a little bit ago. But I'd like to bring on my good buddy, Mr. Erik Klubier. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Tanner?
I'm doing well, my friend. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity once again. It was still a big deal to me. I still hold it in high regards that you were the first. So, that opportunity, thank you so much. And look where we are now. We're still here. So,
yeah, we still are.
Cheers
You're
to you,
moving
buddy.
up. Cheers to you, my friend.
Oh, yeah. So I figured on today's broadcast, because I want to get to a couple topics, but I definitely want to literally talk about the whole Great for Rising record song by song.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really fun to do that. So I actually wrote down some notes this time so I can remember some shit in my old age.
all right.
Right?
What a pro.
But before we get to that, what are you doing musically speaking these days?
Musically speaking, we're rehearsing again, and we're getting ready to play a show with you guys at Stages in Santa Ana in a couple weeks here. So, in the meantime, we have been fortunate enough to play in Arizona. California, as you know, is shut down, but back in late November, we played a weekend out there, and then again in late January, and that's helped keep the band, just keep the momentum. This entire year, what we've been focusing on was recording the album, finishing all the details, which seem never ending, and it's finally the release date is almost upon us, which is April 23rd. Great Fear Rising, our new Void Vator record, will be coming out on Ripple Music. And the pre-orders are out, and I'm really proud to say that all of the limited edition colored vinyl are sold out already. And but musically, so at this point is playing live, getting ready to play live again, and you gotta get those muscles back into it. Although they're not completely atrophied because we've been able to play over the last couple months. That's like so beneficial. We did our first rehearsal last Monday at Nightingale Studios in Burbank for the first time there. That was actually a great rehearsal studio, by the way. I just have to mention that because I was really impressed with the facilities. But anywho, it's once again, it's not so dusty. That's it, man. Void Vator musically, has been getting this music out. That's been the main focus, all the behind the scenes work. And talking to you is part of that as well. It's great. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I'd love to talk about the record. And now it's time to get back into performance mode. That's been it, man.
So you're a one band show right now. Because
Yeah.
usually I'm used to you being in like fucking 40 bands. And like
it turned into that way at some point. Definitely when I was in between main projects, I just really get right back into it and have multiple bands at once and see which one might has potential. And then I was juggling Ironaut and Void Vator for a while, and Ironaut shit the bed. But that turned out to be a good thing because when I put all my eggs in this basket, this was the right horse to bet on. I knew that for a while, but I liked Ironaut. That was cool. Anywho, yeah, I've been a one man band guy. I prefer it that way because it's a lot. I don't know how drummers especially seem to do this, to be in multiple projects and it doesn't bother them or phase them. They may even prefer it that way. There's a lot of notes on the guitar, man. So and I sing backup vocals, gotta remember those words. And I prefer to be a one project guy. And I've been that way for God. I mean, the years go by so quickly, but it's at this point since 3 years. I've just been a Void Vator.
Well, I mean, since literally like the first episode we ever did together, you've I think Ironaut was on its outs or whatever, but You know, it's funny that you mention that. My theory with it, and you can speak either for or against it, is I don't think with drummers especially they're there just to do their job, which is like to they're not doing like the business stuff behind the scenes on every project that they're doing. Do you know what I mean? They're not
Well,
writing
again,
all the songs
I
and
mean, everyone's different. They could be if they wanted to, but I will say from the many drummers I know that typically I think it's a very fair stereotype to say that yeah, they show up and they that's what their investment is. So
Mhm.
let's just rip on drummers, fucking dickheads.
No, but you need that in a band. Like there's has to be a give and take. I was literally just talking to Mike Abominator about this, and he's so right. You know, it's a give and take relationship. You have to have people that like just want to show up and play. You have to
I
have people
guess
that
I prefer people that are fully invested and want to do things above and beyond because I feel like the it still is very much a DIY level of things. We're signed to Ripple Music, which is really I really respect and appreciate that label on multiple levels, but we're still a very DIY organization, and this is a lot of tasks, and the more people you have helping, the better. Now at this point, I mean, we're primarily a three-man band, and um, Great Fear Rising, Joey DiBiase recorded the drums, but he lives in Connecticut. That's pretty far away, you know. And
did you work with him before?
we worked. Let me think.
Am I
Like he
hallucinating?
filled in on some tours because our drummer Herman,
Right.
he had to move. He had to move with his Swedish wife Janalee. I mean, so Herman's from Uruguay, and you know, I just be, you know, like my accents are obviously whatever they are, but uh, and so he had to move to London, and his wife is from Sweden, and so that was around. It was coming. They were like working on trying to get visas, and it just doesn't always work out. And so we had played with Joey before, and I think before we even wrote started writing Great Fear Rising, he did fill in for a tour because he's fucking killer, you know. Yeah, he's a ringer. He's awesome,
Can
and he came in and nailed it. And we had been talking to him, and we worked with him long distance, which is we can get into that, or I'll just skip over it now. But we worked uh, long distance about that, and we're booking a tour for the summer right now, and and he's gonna drum for it. So that's fantastic.
Oh,
But
that's
it's
awesome. So who are you rehearsing with now? Sorry to cut you off, but who are you rehearsing with? Who?
Adrian from Ex
Oh.
Mortis, and he's been filling in for us because we do these shows that are essentially one-offs. They're weekends, and Sam and Adrian have been friends for a long time, and they're in a band called Legal Tender together, and that's been like that's a great asset. You know, like we've worked with other drummers as well. We've hired guys here and there. Um, but Adrian's been working with us for like these one-off shows, like for 6 months, and it's worked out for all of us. But it is what it is, man. He's helping us out, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
I'm stoked to see him with you guys. I've obviously is he doing the May 1st show
yeah,
by chance? Okay, cool. Well, fucking A. Dude, so with that in mind, well, there's a couple more things I want to touch on with you. Is that, what is the biggest struggle for you personally within the band, maybe around the quarantine times? Like, what is the one thing you've kind of it's like, is it struggling with getting merch done? Is it struggling with like, I'm sure it's not writing songs, so I'm sure you fucking
well, we
bleed
didn't
out songs, but stuff like that. Like, what is your biggest obstacle for you personally when contributing
motivation.
to Void Vator?
It's motivation because I haven't felt like I've really been in a band. I'm used to being in a band that rehearses at least twice a week, regularly. No matter whether there's gigs, whether there's an album coming up. So we lost. Well, we let our rehearsal space go, We weren't using it. Like we switched gears. Like we adapted to the situation, and for us, we had just written this album, and we had just started a tour. We were in the middle of the Spring Breakneck tour, 2020. And like we were outrunning the COVID spread on the West Coast, and then the East Coast was catching up, and they caught up with us in San Antonio, Texas. So we got about 5 dates into it, and we're trying to see. We're supposed to be in New Orleans on St. Patrick's Day. That would have been fucking cool. And just everything was shutting down, and we called it quits there, and we were forced to. You know, and so we rearranged what we're doing. Like, let's finish the album. And that's what we did. So we came back, and that was like goal number one. So you record the album. Then now we got to mix the album. Now we've got to master the album. Now we got to get the album. So all these steps of, and you know, from releasing albums, this is a lot of steps, man. It's not, you don't just, I mean, on for how we do things, just once again, like a very DIY level, we do everything. And so it's all the steps. And that's what we did, which are one after the other after the other. But at the same time, so we weren't rehearsing regularly, so why are we going to pay for a rehearsal space? So we let that go, which is the smart, right thing to do. But that was weird, man. It's very weird to me. I've never actually spent how many years and years and years of I've always been in a band or bands, and I've always had rehearsals and regular rehearsals, so that made it feel like, even though we're like working on this album to get it finished, still made it feel like we're not in a band. I didn't like that. I don't like that. And then like one cool thing was so we had finished the album, and the mixing's done, and the mastering's done, and we had we shot a video yet? I don't know. Yeah, we had shot a video. And so we've done all these like kind of behind the scenes work type things, but it's not musical. But this thing, it has to be done. And like I guess normally we'd be doing all this and rehearsing, you know. So you just I kind of lose this physical connection with actually being in a band.
But it sounds like you have to, and you did the same thing that I'm doing, or what I call projects, to keeping my mind busy. So I can't sit stagnant. I think I have maybe what everyone else has is ADHD. So I'm literally having to do a project to keep my mind busy, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, trust me, we've all become busy, but I think more in a domesticated way, and maybe paid attention to portions of our life that we didn't put as much effort into, and that's actually kind of worked out in its own way. But as far as rock and roll and a band goes, it felt like it kind of like being in prison or something, you know. It felt very disconnected. So once we got these opportunities for these shows in Arizona, that was really unique. Most bands didn't get these type of opportunities, and I think maybe many bands would say no, because they would have not agreed. You know, like maybe they would have thought that would have been irresponsible. But like, it was awesome. Like, we're like, absolutely, yeah, we're gonna go out and do this. So let's do this as an opportunity, and it got us fired back up again. And they went great. And then we got 2 more opportunities. So that we've had like some good luck with some things to keep us together, man. I like things outside life can take over. Just, I mean, you can call them distractions or new paths in life, and then something that might have just started as something to do can become serious, and that could be. I mean, if you're keeping yourself busy with multiple musical projects, that's great. But it could be real life as well. You could start a new career path or something that leads you. Anywho, but like playing music again and rehearsing with the guys is so fucking awesome. That's been like really reinforces that this is meant to be. If you want to look in any sort of destiny type things, like we're on the right path. Because I feel like if we weren't, then just these speed bumps would have come up and just led us astray. For me, I don't think this was. I think it worked out very well. I think this is pretty much over as far as the whole pandemic's concerned. but like, other people disagree with that. But things seem to be getting back to normal. Nationwide, and maybe for everyone, band life is just going to zoom back in. But we were able to, we didn't fracture that far. Our project, like keeping the band together to release the album and taking care of all the details, that kept us involved, and shooting the videos, that kept us involved, and doing podcasts keeps us involved and focused. And most importantly, like actually playing together in the same room. It's like, yes, okay.
But you, like I said, you need to keep relevant at a time when everybody's at their house. It's literally like all eyes are on us right now. Like this is super important for us to do. And so with that in mind, I kind of saw a little bit ahead and I'm not trying to give myself too much credit here, but it's like I wanted to keep busy in the podcasting world because I was like, how am I going to, Madrost is kind of was not put on hold, but it's like everyone was just living life, right?
Yeah.
We released the last record, Charting the Riding Earth, last year, which and that's what my project was. It was like getting the artwork done. It was making sure the mastering sounded great. It was making sure my guys we all recorded and it was done. And then in the podcasting world, so after that whole thing was done, it was like, how am I going to keep this relevant? Okay, I'll do more podcasts. I got the vehicle. Might as well do something while I'm doing nothing. So with that in mind, it's grown for me to get to the CMS podcast network that we're on right now and grow from there. So, huge shout out to Chris and Neely and the guys, for having me on this thing. But it's like this, it led somewhere else that I wasn't even like, I didn't even know that existed for me, that could exist for me.
Right.
I mean? I was just doing this out of,
with everything being normal, and you found a way to channel your energy and create something positive out of it. And so that's adjusting with it, and we've adjusted in our own ways as well. I didn't start a podcast.
Absolutely. And it shows, and we're going to get to the record literally right now. I'm going to talk song by song basis, but I think you guys took a little bit more extra precautions or care when it came to this, because you had the time to, it was like what you needed to get through. And that's all I was going with that question was.
Yeah, maybe that was meant to be. And because all of the other records really were, there's so much going on, maybe too much going on. And we refused to give it the proper attention that it deserved. And this helped us focus on all the details. And I think it led to the best product that it possibly could be. I'm very proud of it. Like, it's fucking great. It turned out very well.
Absolutely, man. And technically, correct me if I'm wrong, and for the record, this technically is like your first record, like your first LP with the band. Technically, because Stranded was kind of an EP that you kind of put a couple more songs on. No?
Yeah, it was an EP, and that's how we always rolled, was to get something out quicker than later. And so if it was 6 songs, we can get it out, then great. And then that's how Stranded started, and it caught the attention of Ripple. And then we recorded 4 more songs. I thought we were going to throw them all on there, but we just threw 2 of them on there. And albums back in the day used to just be 8 songs. So to me, that's great. And so to me, it qualifies as an LP. I think it does. I need to pull out the rule book of heavy metal.
I don't think there is one, dude. I think we make it up as we go along.
As we should. But and I like more music. I don't like EPs. I mean, I guess if a band like back in the heyday, so they'd be touring so much, there was just no way they had time to write an album, so they could crank out some music to keep you satiated in the midst of their 3-year lapse or what have you. I thought that was cool. But yeah, I like to listen to a good chunk of music, and to me, an hour can go by very quickly. Beyond an hour, I start to fade, and most albums never make it that far. But you get what I'm saying. So I guess this is our first LP right out of the bat. I still consider it our third album because we got Dehumanized and then Stranded and now Great Fear Rising. But if you want to get technical,
I'm
sure.
just talking on a technicality wise, like technically, I don't know if that was supposed to ruffle any feathers with that
I
question,
guess
but
a little bit because I want to have like LPs and I want to be all bona fide. As I said, no brother, where art thou?
he's bona fide.
Bona fide.
Well, yeah, dude. Well, if you don't mind, man, I'd love to get to the record and we could talk song by song basis and
Yeah.
and promote it. I always like to. I wish more podcasts and interviews did this, where they went through it song by song basis and kind of learned how the writing process and what the band was thinking during it. But
It's unique. You're the only guy I know of that does it. So
but like
cool.
but like you only get like 15 minutes to talk on some certain interviews.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Normally it's just kind of a really shallow, but it is what it is. You only have 15 minutes to dig. So
Yeah. I mean, but speaking of dig, if you don't mind, let's dig into this.
yeah, dig it.
So let's start with just the title itself. What was your specific thinking in naming the record? Either did you have a preconceived like we need it to be this title and the cover needs to represent this, or how did that all kind of
Yeah.
come about for you?
It does come out of necessity, and necessity is the mother of invention. And I guess the first go-to, what are we going to name this album? The first go-to are the song titles. I got to change it. There's a black speck. Anyway, yeah, it's the song titles, and Stranded ended up being the song title of our second EP/LP. And anywho, yeah, Great Fear Rising. I looked at it and I mean, I think I suggested it, or you run it by the guys, and it sounds it was really perfect for the time, and the song was written for the time. We'll get to that song in particular. We can talk about Lucas's lyrics and whatnot, but it's nothing new as far as conceptually, but it sounded like like a professional song album title that people would take seriously. Like if we called the album "I Can't Take It," well, you're setting yourself up for a lot of fucking insult.
Failure.
You can run with that, and make a lot of jokes about that, but it was a cool title that was timely with what's going on. And something that we discuss, in our small talks and jokes, going back and forth at rehearsal or when we're hanging out here and there, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought it was a cool title, and so did Lucas and Sam. So it wasn't preconceived though. Like, it's not like the album title came up first and songs were written around a motif. It was a song that was already written and finalized, and it just sounded like a great album title.
Absolutely. Well, and with that in mind, what did you want what concept did you have in mind first with, the album title's already chosen, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of album cover is going to represent this title?
And that's a big deal.
And encapsulates the whole package, right? Because an album cover is huge, dude. It's like literally it's how you sell albums. It's how you,
it is.
It's your image. So with that in mind, it's like, we got this great title. Now, how are we going to encapsulate this and kind of use one image to represent what this whole album represents to us?
Well, I started first, and I reached out to an artist who was kind of a little bit of an edgy political cartoonist. And conceptually, I thought that he might come up with something perfect for it, and which wouldn't be safe, which and wouldn't be cliche, because like all the heavy metal cliches are done. And so we could take this concept, which is a concept that's been around forever. Great Fear Rising, media pushing fear, media pushing lies, to manipulate. That's like a very standard heavy metal topic.
Mhm.
That's And I thought he'd have a fresh edge to it. And but he sent me some things out, and we weren't feeling them. So I lost that one, and I paid him out of my own pocket because it was we went there, we tried it, it didn't work, right? And
Mhm.
then really, Lucas is like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And he reached out, and honestly, I think he found an artist through Fiverr, and he started working with him.
Right.
And just kind of like, yeah, Lucas, let's see what you come up with. And he came up with a lot of these, and here's the album. Oh, very cool. Yeah. So he came up with just it's a photo collage, and very military. But I want to point out a couple things that I think are so fun. The snakes are great. They're slithering by the logo. I just think that's so awesome. Just like tra- traditional biker heavy metal. And the pyramids are in the bottom right corner. And that's like, you know, just fun pyramid, you know, conspiracies and whatnot. But Great Fear Rising, some of our standard items, guns, soldiers, um, smoke and battle and chaos and fire, but done it. And so he put this away. I mean, together. And then, but when he had it, the logo, it didn't pop. The logo didn't pop. And Great Fear, right? Like, so the collage itself, okay, cool, man, let's work with it. But then from there, we took it to our artist graphic, Ryan Bartlett,
Oh, okay.
who worked with quite a bit. He was from Orange County. He's one of your um, local neighbors, essentially.
Yeah, he worked on No Legacy compilation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we've done and like Iron Out worked with him. I met him through doing a gig with Living Alive at the Doll Hut. A lot of history with dude, and so we presented him with this collage, and we're like, yeah, the logo doesn't, and he came up with this kind of triple, 3D image of the Void Vator, which I think that looks really fucking cool. And then just the Great Fear Rising actually has kind of once again it's 3D, but it's rising. Kind of looks like flames from different perspectives. But like, so we toyed back around with that. So like, we did come up with a collage. The collage looks cool, man. We just like the colors, like the imagery. I love the snake. It's fucking great. Helicopters are cool. I like helicopters. And and so and the other important thing is like, I feel like very much going with like Lucas, like put the ball, and the ball was in his court, and like, yeah, man, that's rad, like, yeah, it's like going with this is we can work with this. And then so what I'm getting at is like not like overthinking anything, like that particular, like we express our thoughts to a point, but like just not killing if you can kill an idea by just overanalyzing, right? But so we take that, and it was to a step, but like, yeah, then once we started working with Brian, and then he took it. Say it's like 50-50, because I think he really took that photo collage to a next level. And what is also kind of fun about it, honestly, there's not too many album covers that are photos. And if they are, they're one photo. It is different, man. Like, and it was kind of a happy accident. There's some thoughts going into it and working with people, and then kind of just polishing, and that's how we came upon the album cover.
Love it, dude. Well, dude, let's get into the first jam if you don't
Yeah.
mind. I can't take it. This is the first track off the record. This literally will start off anybody who hasn't heard Void Vator yet. This would probably be the first, if you gave them a CD or vinyl or whatever, this would be the first song that would come on. So with that in mind, just song placement. Because I'm fascinated by when bands, how they place their songs to make
Yeah.
the record like a cohesive thing. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, how did you guys kind of know what was going to be the first song? Like, what did you want the first song to be in your mind?
Well, the intro is very abrupt, the powerful, abrasive staccato, and um, and overall, as far as the song, in general, I think it summed up the band very well. It wasn't. There's a couple songs that tilt towards different expressions and different stylings, and I
Uh-huh.
think this one was very to the point. Summed up. Was like a median song, but I say that in a good way. Yeah, this is if you had to just hear one song, this is a good one song to just get into it. And just the intro to that song itself lent it to be one of the best. I mean, it was down to that and perhaps Losing Control, which actually also has a really cool intro as well. But we had maybe two or three, and we just had it. We were still rehearsing up at Third Encore at the time, and discussing what songs were contenders. And yeah, this one, everyone agreed on it pretty quickly, unless we thought about it and discussed like why this would be a good one to do over the others and why this one was better. So the intro itself is really great. It's a great. It's an awesome song as well. That helps.
Absolutely.
That
Well,
helps.
dude, it ended up becoming the single or one of the single, right? The A side, as I
That
call
was
it.
the first one. Yeah, the
Is
first
the
video.
A side. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There is a B side, which we'll get to too, in a little bit. But yeah, this was literally the single that came out even before. I think this was like before, to my recollection, that I even knew what the album title was. I just loved this song so much. And like,
Yeah.
the music video process for it, how did you, the concept to it, how did you, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, but how did you approach, there you go, approach. How did you approach just the concept for, doing a video to represent this specific song?
Well, we at the time flights were really cheap, so I called up a great friend of mine from Detroit and got him a round trip ticket for like around $100 or $150. And he was really excited to do something. Like he was at a point in his life of being kind of bored and everything's shut down and creatively unfulfilled. So he was on board as well to help out. And and be reasonable with the budget. So it made more sense to like fly in my buddy from Detroit who wanted to do the video than reach out to a person here in LA who may or may not give a fuck and just wants to like make money because that's like their business or what have you. It worked out fantastic, but we didn't have too much in mind for the video. And I got to be honest, since one of the unfortunate things, we weren't rehearsing at the time, so we're just not seeing each other physically, and everyone's got their own schedules now, and we're not talking as much, and talking about important things can be difficult to schedule these, whether there's Zoom meetings basically. And so like I started to think about something I thought would be cool and would tie into what was going on. I wanted it to be topical, and that was about the shutdowns. And then so I just wrote the video like the night before he came. I kind of wrote a little bit of a rough draft, but then I really wrote the video like the night before he came here, and then it was showtime. So it's not like we got to practice anything, but like rather than having him show up and well, what are we gonna do? Oh, I don't know, like play in front of a brick wall or something. And I also didn't want the band to play because like to me personally, I just think that's kind of boring. Like just glamour shots of the band playing music. Like I thought it'd be fun to write a story and have these little characters, and the spies are based on the spy, the white agent and the black agent, spy versus spy. That's literally what it's supposed to be. I loved Mad Magazine, and the operative who's in charge is our buddy Jack Glazer from who's known us forever, and well, I think he does a pretty good impression of a person. He might have a lot of political reign in this territory, being California. I think he did a pretty good job of that. And, I mean, and a lot of like Ivan had his costume. I remember Ivan, who's a white spy, was in the drummer of Iron on it with me. And like, and that was a Halloween costume that he had from back in the day, and he was so stoked to use it again. It was awesome. Then the Black Spy is my buddy Jason, and like he's wearing a hat that barely fit his goddamn head. And but yeah, we put it together, and I wrote a script, and that's I think it turned out well. I was still kind of by the seat of our pants because like I have these ideas and getting it's all guerrilla shot, no permits, no legality. Like we just did it, like we hiked up Runyon Canyon, with the guitar cases and like a drum case, and I call it Mount Doom, but it's the West Trail. And anywho, at the top of it, that was like a shot kind of from the Guns N' Roses No Rain video, and Luke is like, real, that was real, that was a one taker, he threw, he's like, it's like, ah, and throws the guitar case down the hill. Yeah. And that's me down there like 40 feet, like catching. So when I catch it, like it really kind of knocks me back.
And you're a big guy too, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
I've got some COVID pounds, I can tell you that. but yeah, man. So we did that. It damn near killed me. Everyone else, Brian, Lucas, and Sam. That was kind of like condition because Lucas and Sam can skate, and that's cool as hell. And so can Chris. Like he can. So he's like following them around, getting some cool skateboard shots. And then we shoot down to the Hollywood Sunset Strip, and like the idea is like everything's shut down, and we want to play. And as soon as we're gonna go in March, he's like, no. And then we did the Benny Hill thing with the guys chasing us, and so that's how it turned out. And that's the idea behind it. It's kind of fun, it's a day in the life of the band wants to play the show, and the authorities,
Absolutely.
don't want to allow them to do it. So some like very, very traditional, authority trying to stop rock and roll, but very like, and also it was, if you remember, we had like these crazy fires that never ended, and it's like a 1 or a half second shot of the sun. That's like right around my neighborhood, but it's like my buddy was disappointed because he came from Detroit and he was hoping for beautiful California weather, and everything, the sky is like either gray or blood orange, red, because it's just filled with smoke. And it killed. I mean, you could, you could like taste that damn smoke, So.
And it's probably even worse than LA smog.
It was.
LA.
Straight up.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? But no, it's a great video. I was really excited. I got really excited, like, oh, dude, they're back. This is fucking awesome. Like something's coming down the pipe. So it really like did something for me because I'm a fan of the band, as you know. Like I'm a fan of what you guys do. So this was like, oh fuck yeah, like something's coming. Like when is this gonna drop? So I think
the thing was we had it done for a while, but then like the album was not getting released till now. So now we're in a predicament because we finished the video in October, and I think that was like taking its time. I'm like, dude, you don't have to rush for this. But then now this thing's like becoming perhaps irrelevant, and so we're like, dude, Todd, who runs Ripple Music, like we want to release this. Like I understand the album's not coming out till April 23rd. But we want to release this now. So we released it in like early December. And I'm glad we did, because that's where the world, it ended up staying that way. But like, yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty. And so I didn't want the entire video to become irrelevant because it was very topical. It was, yeah. Like in a perfect world, it actually would have just been released like a couple days after, a day after we shot it.
Yeah, but it's for the time. It's recorded in the time for the time, as I like to say it, right? So
in the time for the time, but like it should have some longevity because it'll still have just very universal themes that I don't think will ever go away.
Well, yeah, and what was cool about it too, I mean, obviously it's not dated at all. It doesn't seem dated in terms of like, I didn't see a bunch of people wearing masks. I didn't see a bunch of like.
We weren't wearing masks, man.
Yeah, but I'm saying
there was some Karens yelling at us. Like,
I'm sure, of course there were, of course. But I'm saying like it's in that regard, it doesn't date the video. So I applaud you guys for that.
Yeah, man. Yes and no. I mean, there are actually some scenes where I think there's some advertisements of like COVID-19 because they were pasted to the sides of the walls, and you can see the realistic Hollywood where everything it was shut down like very strictly back then. So yes and no, but I agree. If we had done a video just wearing like masks, I think that's if you watched it 10 or 20, in the future, that'd be like kind of lame.
Well, yeah, people would be confused at it. So I
And I think it would have been very unrock and roll.
Yeah, I agree. Now the B side, as I call it, there's a B and C side now,
Mhm.
but the B side to this is I Want More. And I know you had shot a video for this. I know it came out like a couple months ago.
Uh,
So walk me through choosing the B side for this record that was going to represent this.
yeah, I guess it is the second song, so it's still it's a second song, and it's up tempo, and I think that we were doing our photo shoot and we were listening to the album with a photographer, Nikki, who also shot that video, shot and directed. That's a Nikki, that's her gig, and it seemed like a great song. It has a great, very very catchy hook to it, and that was the reason. This song kind of jams, it kind of kicks ass. I think of that song as like Megadeth meets Guns N' Roses. Especially like the verse is very Guns N' Roses because like live Sam and Lucas sing it at the same time. Um, so you got that low octave and the higher voice, which Guns N' Roses, I like that sound. And then just like it's just a great tune, man. We were digging it, and we were like, let's do that one. And also the idea of it was, I want more. Like, this is not enough for us.
Okay.
I thought of it. Yeah, that's like kind of, and we. That's kind of some of the pushing, some of the attitude, and lyrically, like we don't like to be a band that's like a real pessimistic or complainer band. We literally are striving for more out of life, and want more out of life, and whether that means so like, yeah, we're not happy where it is, and we don't want to go down, and we don't want to just sit in the corner and drink ourselves into the gutter and just fall down and die. We want to expand and grow and do what it takes, and we kind of feel like we're here. Why aren't we here? Like, we want to get here, but we don't have this like genie in a bottle mentality of like, okay, let's like get some Alibaba wishes or something, and like get on this magic carpet ride to fucking Oscar land, or Oscars from Grammy land, or it's they're like, yeah, this is cool, this is all right. No, we want more. Like, I know there's more. I know there is. So like, you guys aren't just gonna keep us down here. We're gonna get there.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I think this is the perfect B-side. After listening to kind of this whole record, I was like, I understand why you guys chose the songs you chose.
Cool. Yeah.
Because I'm all about like, and thank you very much in advance for sending me the record so I could, have the material to do this interview with you and be on the same page, right? So thank you for that. But I think after listening to it over and over and over again, it's like I get why they chose these specific songs, But
well, it's high energy
also,
too. We want to keep kicking ass,
Yeah, and I'm also like, what, they could have chose this one and they could have chose this one, so it's always like that. So that's how I know it's a great record, is because I'm like, fuck, I wish they chose this one. I like this one. It's like, but and say that too. I don't think, and don't take this the wrong way, but I feel these aren't the strongest pieces of the album for me, which is a great thing. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and that's where, well, we'll get to Great Fear Rising, which I think is more what I'm talking about. The other ones are a little bit more. They're not in the center. They're a little bit outside the box, which is cool. But we wanted to show what the band is about, right? So other people might, I like this song because this is stonery. I like this song because this is thrashy. I like this song because this is like punky, etc., etc. But those are different, more reaching outside of songs. So in these tunes, we felt were just like right in the center, just hit them in the chest.
I love it, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I understood why you chose those.
Yeah,
they made sense to me.
cool.
So, let's go with track 3. So there's something wrong with us. I again, don't take this the wrong way. When I first heard this, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like I'm listening to K-rock almost in like the 90s or mid 2000s, because I got a kind of a pop punk kind of vibe. And I'm like, I really like this because it reminds me of when I was riding in the car with my mom driving and turning on K-Rock, and I would hear, I don't know, The Offspring or Incubus or something, because I grew up with that stuff.
I like The Offspring more than Incubus, but absolutely great. No, great analogies and very well thought out and good, like good examples. And you're right. So this song is more pop punky, and like it's a song that I had is some ideas when we're writing these tunes. You go back in the hard drives and it used to be cassette tapes, but I took all those cassette tape ideas and put them on there. But I liked the melody, and I had it on there, and I had a couple pieces that I thought were strong enough to like work with, and so I worked with them more and polished them up and made them presentable, and had about at least half the song written, at least the intro, verse, chorus. And then maybe we got to the middle breakdown. That was written on the spot in the studio. It was really cool, real quick. Like how the writing process happened was pretty much like mostly Lucas or I would come up with like a chunk to throw at the band. Do you like this? Yes or no? Yes. No. Okay. Cool. We'll learn it, and then we'll get together at rehearsal and play this live together. But live, not we didn't have a drummer. We were just playing instruments, two bass, drums. Like two guitars, bass. I said that completely wrong. That's so funny. Anywho, but when we got this together live, so now like, okay, how's this sound? How's this feel? And we still like turn up enough to like feel it. So we kind of got the best of both worlds. Like we're demoing on essentially laptops, computers, but then we're trying it out. But everyone comes in with the parts like learned. They're aware of them. This isn't like just presented, so you don't just like fall on your face like right from the get-go. That being said, everyone in the band's pretty quick, so if you show it to them right then, they'll learn it. But so we did it both organically. Opposite, but we organically and I guess unorganically, like demo style, like just laptop style. So that's how we went back and forth. But like. And I think everyone thought the same thing. This is a little weird. This is a little pop punky, but I think it grew on everybody. And especially because I demoed this song, which is hilarious. Like amazing, and then Lucas does much better. And Lucas has a great voice.
I mean, no offense, he is the singer.
Yes,
but we'll get to. I mean, we'll get to it. I want to save it when we get to it, but
the song grew, and it does have, and then I wrote the lyrics, which work, and yeah, man, like, well, that's like, for all what's kind of neat about it, there's something wrong with us is actually Herman's favorite song, because Herman is not a heavy fucking. He's not a heavy metal fan, really. He's a rock. He he likes it more musical and more hooky and more. He was like, I really like that song. That's good.
Yeah, it's a little. This is one of the more melodic pieces to the record for me. I can definitely sense that. So, like I said, I'm a fan of it just because I grew up with it. It's it was kind of a nice little throwback for me because. Am I listening to a radio station right now? It's very radio friendly.
It could be, and I almost thought like maybe that would potentially be a decent. Would that be a good first release? Because like just like you said, like this has some radio appeal if he wanted to like pursue that. But once I don't think it's like a good representation of the band. This is like something we can do that's cool. I think, and for anybody else that just like puked in their mouth because they heard the words pop punk and stuff like that. No, we metal, like we Void Vator it up. I think we make it our own and make it like all this stuff still has a very cohesive edge and rubber cement that ties it together,
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm like what all you guys are. I'm a music fan. So this was like, it was like, oh, this is cool. I can get behind this because I just love music. So, and maybe because I grew up with it. So there's some nostalgia factor for me.
Sure. And then one last thing is I just kept hearing that hook. There's something wrong with us.
Right.
we've somehow lost our trust. And I thought that was actually a cool, like, I hope it's not cliche. It's kind of, in a sense, it's not a love song, but it's a song about relationships, which I think is cool for a band to
Interesting.
tie into, and it's about a dysfunctional relationship and like realizing it.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got something totally different than that. Okay. Yeah.
it's about a relationship that's gone sour and it's getting worse by the day and getting potentially dangerous, which can be very real. I feel like some people might identify with that, but like if you write about love or relationships, it tends to be like one directional, maybe just focus. So I thought it was a different, unique take on it. And I didn't think it was like psycho. Like there's also the psycho death metal side of it, which is like, I'm going to kill everybody, but that wasn't it. It was just realizing that something's becoming very dangerous. Something that was once beautiful has gone rotten and is turning very bad. And
Absolutely. Dude,
I
that's
think that's
interesting that you say that because I was thinking, I'm like, there's something wrong with us. I thought it was like a society thing, or societal thing.
no,
Yeah.
boy and girl.
Okay. That's cool. I mean, but the fact that I got another interpretation from it,
Yeah, that's cool as well.
it's
There's not
like
that many words in it either. So that's
I thought it was, like I
to
said, I
me
thought
that
it was
makes
like,
it easier to remember. But yeah,
yeah, I thought it was like, oh, like something's wrong with our society. So I was
no,
like, oh, this is
no,
awesome.
not it. No, that's too
Well, man, I might not like the song anymore, Eric. You might just have ruined it for me. No, I'm just fucking with you. Just fucking with you. All
hey,
right,
well,
dude, go for it.
moving on.
Go for it, dude. I don't. If I cut you off, just feel free to chime in, dude.
No, I was just making small talk.
So, track 4, "Losing Control." I really love this song. This is probably my second favorite from the album.
Cool.
I love the thrashy beginning. It's heavier, but it still possesses the melodic side that is Void Vator. I could
Yes,
tell who wrote what a little bit more in this particular track. I think.
maybe I'd like to hear your.
Well, I always thought that either you or Sam were like the thrashy guys. So writing those thrashers, I was like, something, no, a little bit.
Go ahead. No, so I'm
And
listening
then
to you.
and then the melodicism comes. I think the melodicism definitely comes from you and Lucas working together. That's how I feel about it, but I could be totally wrong. Um, so educate me a little bit.
Okay, well, this song. Let me think about it. This song was, as far as like basics, was completely written by Lucas, and that includes from the intro to the verse to the bridge to the Sepultura. I call it the Sepultura part to the middle.
Hmm.
Yeah, Lucas wrote all of the main riffs for this song, and it was primarily. I called this song Power Trip when we did it, and we were listening to Power Trip a lot at the time. Not necessarily like the exact moment we wrote it, but like around like for the past couple of years, we'd been listening to them on the road, and like, oh, this has that vibe, and that's where it came from. And then Lucas like, we can't call the fucking song Power Trip, and actually one of our fans just we still didn't have a name for it, and we played it once at the old I want to call it the old Miami, but it's not. It's the Old Town Pub in
Oh,
Pasadena, and one of our fans, Kreger's, it's called Losing Control, and he says that in it, and I was like, all right. I mean, it's a little bit. I mean, that's kind of cliche. Actually, I think like Wizard had a song called "Losing Control," but you fuck it, man. Sometimes it's like it's a song title and it works, but like, yeah, Lucas presented us this tune, and what makes the song work primarily, but besides just like the energy of it and stuff like that, the hits, the bump, 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 boom, which is fun. But really, we play this one riff like forever, and it's the goddamn vocals, and that's what carries it, which is really cool. And actually, one of the also neat things is Nick Belmore, who mixed the album. Side like quick history on him. He's in Jasta. He's the drummer of Toxic Holocaust. Like he's another drummer in a million fucking bands. D. Snyder, probably a bunch. But those are some like really big names. And then he's also like an incredible recording, mixing, mastering engineer, and I had this is through Joey DiBiase and their friends because they're from fucking Connecticut. And there's like 400 people that live in the whole state, and they all
It's
know
so
each
true.
other.
It's so
And
true,
that's
sadly.
where you can drive through the whole thing in a half hour, but it's great, you know. So it's really just a suburb of like New York.
Well, I
But
mean, and sorry to all the Connecticut fans, but we love you.
that's great. I think it's cool. I think it's super cool. But come on, that's how it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, dude, so I was totally wrong on that, but also too, I didn't have lyrics and I didn't have any of this information, so it was always going off of
No, but I
just my
like to
noggin.
hear that, and yeah, Lucas is super like just melodic and what I can definitely see where like and like Sam's like the skater,
The
punk
thrashy guy.
thrash kid, you know, and I'm the old fucking drunk, you know. So you know, I can see how you could definitely, but
Well, I thought you were the melodic guy. I always think Erik Klubier, he's melodic, hard rock melodic, melodic
yeah,
hard rock.
we can talk all day, man. I'm gonna start just flying the flag of glam metal. I love that shit. I love it more every day.
Dude, I've been, and not to get off tangent, but I bought Dawkins Tooth and Nail. Man, what like that record fucking rules, dude.
I still like Actually Attack better, but with us for a different podcast, my friend.
That's okay. That's okay though. But I'm saying I never realized how much I love Dawkins until
it's great, man. It's so much of that shit. I was hanging out with my buddy today. We're listening to we call it the new Accept album, but it came out in like 2011, 12,
Blood
13.
of the Nations?
I don't know. Great. It's awesome. It's just absolutely great.
It's also 10 years old.
I know. So that's new, right? Yeah. Look at me. Okay.
That's fucking awesome. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I just think it's all hard rock and metal to me. I don't, you know.
I think that, well, I think unfortunately it really got ostracized, and I understand like how the thrash guys ripped on the glam metal guys, and it was really kind of one side. Well, maybe the glam metal. Oh, I do have like it's hard rock glam metal people. So you play in an band? That's what they say to me. This that's the type of music you play. And I'm like, I guess. I mean, it's not like, you know, every rose has its thorn. Is that what we're getting at? So it's like you can't ever win. But so I guess those things still happen. But I think, man, there's so much kick-ass music, and that's a lot of great things to be pulled from that.
Absolutely, dude. The musicianship on both sides of that spectrum are off the chain. So can't discredit any kind of style of music just because you know, you don't like it or whatever. But all right, so this is my favorite track off the record, and I probably
wait. Can I say what my contribution to Losing Control is?
Sure.
It is a so I added that.
And that's
sense. Layer. And by the way, and those are things that, like, without that, I think the chorus would have been fucking boring. Well, actually, maybe it'd still be cool, but not as cool as it is now. And I think that's one thing that Joey, when he came out, we were jamming that live because we worked long distance on this, and we finally, you know, the final tweaks and polishes are live with Joey. It's like, I like that part. So that gives a total credit because he's goddamn East Coast hardcore.
Yeah, but it gives the song character.
Soft spots.
Yeah, but it gives the song character. For sure.
It was a cool part, and that's what I like to add. When you have two guitars, I say use them. You have two guitar players, like why would they? You know, unless it just becomes you don't want to have constant fucking harmony, right? But the other thing is the first. I mean, is it a solo? Is it a fill? I don't know. And I'm very proud of that first little piece. It's cool.
Again, you just proved my point again. Melodic hard rock. So there you go.
Yeah,
so let's go to so this is my favorite track, and I'm sorry if this is cliche. I'm not sorry as well, because this is my favorite track. The title track. I just love everything about this fucking song. Rules, especially the chorus. I think Lucas outdid himself on vocally speaking. He really kind of like put his like kind of heart and soul more into this track for me. And that's why, to me, this is my favorite jam. This is the one I kind of always go back to. So talk to me a little bit about either like working with him vocally or just kind of watching him do his vocals. And did you add anything into that element, or was it just all Lucas? As far as this goes,
this was all Lucas, and what happened with this is that he was sitting around and watching some talking points that were going back and forth on some just like mainstream media shows that they keep repeating over and over, these specific phrases. And he wrote them down and kind of formulated a song around their phrases, their choice words that they kept saying over and over. And this is something I had been talking about. Like, he always thought it was funny. I'd say, "The lies of the media," and he's like, "Well, man, I was watching it, and he's like, I was cracking up, just like listening to them, just like push this fear." And he wrote a song about it, made it into song form. So that the lyrics, that's where they came from, and they're very relevant because they're actually, a lot of the phrases are from things that he heard them use live that day. What's also neat about it, the chorus in particular that you're talking about, first it's an E and the second time it's an F sharp. And he changes the word. First time, it's the lies. And then chorus 2 is they hide. And chorus 3 is they hide. That's me and Sam coming in. That's our part. A piece of the story to tell.
Right. But where I'm going with this, but his delivery and the cadences that he did on this specific song, I think it's one of my favorite pieces that he's ever done. You know,
he's been like, how like growing his voice, changing his voice over the years into not just like pure melodic vocals, if you will. And that's from a lot of us touring. I mean, he's been bringing out more grit. He has his voice. You're not going to hear obituary style vocals from him, but
right.
he's changed his approach. And in this song in particular, which is it's an aggressive, fast paced song, and he definitely changed his technique and on a couple songs to deliver that. And then just like, yeah, he's a perfectionist, dude, on every, whether it's guitar, whether it's singing and things like that. And yeah, he pushes like what he chose to sing, and he does it live as well, which is really cool.
I wouldn't say what he sings. I would say how he sings it, because like I said, the cadences I thought was super unique and super, like, I just loved everything about this track. So that's why it's my favorite. And I think it's a great, it sums up the album for me. It's a great title. It's a great everything.
It is. And it's the most progressive. I have to use that word very carefully, because a progressive band be like, what are they even talking about? But there's quite a few parts to it. It's a longer song for us. We're typically a much more just meat and potatoes, 3 to 4 minute song band. And we structured things. We aimed for that in the past quite a bit. We just like in and out. Let's keep it, keep it simple, stupid. Keep it stupid, simple. Keep it simple. But I remember this song started. He gave me a repeating line that had 2 phrases, and then I took that and then I added all the harmonies. So the intro really is one figure. Well, it's 2 figures that repeat over and over and over, but it builds and builds and builds. I had a lot of fun with that, So I sent out like, "What do you think of this?" It's like, "Dude, that's fucking great." And then we got the thrash section, and then that has multiple pieces in itself. Then the 2 dual solos with a harmony. So this kind of has all the bells and whistles in it. Back into the chorus, back into an outro, and I wrote this big fucking outro. That's and I sent it to Lucas, and my outro probably was, I don't know how long the outro is now. Maybe it's a minute, or maybe it's a minute and a half, but it was twice as long. And I thought it was great, all these different like drum, because we programmed the drums when we were writing these songs, and as best as we can, I've been doing that for a while, so I think make cool drum beats. And Lucas is actually, he can play drums, and so he'll make them. A drummer would do it more like this. And then we present it to Joey, and so we give him 75% or 60%, and then he takes it, makes it real,
Right.
And then he
Right.
changed things like here and there as well. But like, so we give him like he's not just starting from nothing, you know. I think
And
that's helpful.
absolutely, man. And we can't forget this too. So there is a lyric video for this if people want to check this one out. Really killer. And even if you're not into lyric videos, I know a lot of people aren't and a lot of people are, but the song is just, I think it's fucking great. This is definitely my favorite track from the album.
Well,
So definitely people need to check it out.
Too, man. For our third, you know, I didn't think that we'd get a third single, and that's through like Ripple Music, you know, like wanting to push this album, get people interested in it, and then they worked through a company called Purple Sage PR, which is actually from France. But anywho, she's like, oh, you guys want to push a third single because we've done two. I Can't Take It and I Want More. I'm like, no, we're not shooting another video or anything. So we were just gonna. She's like, well, we can do a song, and I'd like to pitch it to these platforms and whatnot, see who bites. And but she called it a motion video, which I believe it means lyric video with the, and so yeah, we created that pretty goddamn. That thing had to be uploaded on a specific day by 9 a.m. and we got, because the first draft we got it looked cool, but there's like 3 glaring typos, and I don't want to be that goddamn band that has like misspellings and one whole like sentence was wrong, you know, lyrical sentence. But we got it in, and it got featured on Decibel, which I think is pretty cool.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I was literally just going to mention that, but anyway, let's go to track 6. So this is like in the Erik Klubier camp. I've noticed a lot of this where like you'll sing like a song on each of these records. It's really cool. It's like super unique to like what the band is, and it's kind of like a cool title. It's MacGyver's Mullet. I kind of like laughed out loud hearing it for the first time.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And I love the show, obviously. It's
Everyone
a great
does.
fucking show. But I'm saying it's so Erik Klubier to sing a song called MacGyver's Mullet. It just makes so much sense.
And what's funny about that was a working title, which I thought was great, but I wasn't going to name the song that. And this is another like idea I had, pretty much complete from years ago, and like repolished it and presented it to the band. Like, I think this could be cool. Let's try it out. And here's the words. You know, I wrote the words just about my neighborhood, which is Hollywood here. And my take on it, which is actually a love affair with Hollywood for all its warts, for all the good and all the bad. It is what it is, but it drew us to it. And we're here. This is my home. It smells like piss, but it feels like home to me. And then so we were doing it, and it's a fun rockin' tune. It's like, it's kind of, and but Lucas was singing. He's like, dude, you sing it. Like, I like, because I demoed it, you know, with the words and shit. And it's like, I like how you did it, man. And I think this is you. This is you should do this song. And we'd done it once before on Stranded with Everything Sucks. And that was a song that Lucas wrote all the words and stuff too. But it's like, I hear this in your voice. Like, I think this would be better. And that's pretty cool. Like, I'm not, like, we're not a band that's like 50-50 or anything. We're saying like I do like one song here or there, you know. But it's fun, and it gives Lucas when we do play it live, gives Lucas a chance just to rock out and give his voice a rest. And so that's how that came out. But I was gonna rename it to Grace, which is the name of my apartment complex. And Sam's like, you can't call it Grace. That sounds like my grandma. You know, I'm like, all right, so it should be 18. It should be MacGyver's Mullet, and he's like, yeah, it should be. So he convinced me, and that's how we work. You know, it's cool.
Awesome. I love that dynamic.
Right position, definitely.
Well, you guys got a super cool dynamic. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's a fun punk rock song, and it's something that I thought was cool. Unfortunately, the band liked it as well, and Lucas does like an insane solo. He does many, but like this one in particular is ridiculous.
Well, and I also
one last thing, and this is what's kind of neat and is generational a little bit, is there's like a rhythm, and we actually wrote that part here, just jamming in my apartment. We do that too, because there's just the three of us. Like whether we get together at the rehearsal space or here, that's fine. And yeah, I think that was just me and Lucas. But like, he's like, "What the fuck is that rhythm?" You know, it's just like because diddle it's just a pairing of 16th notes and stuff like
It's
that.
triplets. They're
What?
yeah.
What's
Triplet. Yeah, it's a triplet.
that?
We're all talking. We're all,
Right, but like even that, so like, what are you doing? And like it gets it close, but it's so. I mean, it's just a note just chugged a certain way, But it is so funny that like that was because that's like something that like wouldn't be in his bag of tricks. That like I pulled out like so you play a couple notes like a really cool way, and it makes them cool. Otherwise, it'd just be a couple notes.
absolutely, man.
That's the rhythm underneath the solo. That's the middle part. It's fun.
Absolutely. I think it's super unique that you and Lucas kind of found each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here's the thing: a lot of people don't make it to your specific level. Throughout the years of experience to play music. So I think it's super unique that you guys found each other, like not early on in your career, but not even later in your career. But it's like right now, it's just a super cool dynamic that you guys have and that you found is just super unique. So congrats on that.
Yeah.
I think
Thanks.
it
Well,
works.
that's the magic of Los Angeles and Hollywood, California, and I really do blame it to that and then the metal gods. And we had both all of us actually had kind of intermixed without even knowing it for many years. I mean, the metal scene is so small, like so many shared friends and whatnot, but it did seem to filter itself out in a very good way.
Absolutely,
And the
man.
ingredients like really complement each other, and it's like super. I just wouldn't. You can't buy that. It just happened,
Oh
and
yeah, dude. But
and
I will say it's like, cherish that because a lot of people that we know are no longer kind of with us anymore. So like I said, it's
on
just super
multiple
unique.
levels.
Yeah, so cherish it. So let's move on to the instrumental track from this record. I thought it was again super unique. It's Encounter. Um so talk to me a little bit about this track, how it came about and how you place it in the record is kind of unique.
Well, that was something that Lucas had come up with at rehearsal, and will constantly be just like when a good idea pops its head out, and we're capture we did, and going through tapes, and he found that, and we had jammed that like kind of. Herman was still part of the band. That was straight from rehearsal. Like, oh, that's cool, and it either was captured or we redid it and captured it then, but um it was a really cool, it was a cool piece, and it ended up just syncing up to Poltergeist like awesome. So it builds it up. It's very Iron Maiden, I do straight up Iron Maiden goddamn lead. But that's what I heard, and it fits it right. But the bump 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 bump, that's very Van Halen, and that's Lucas just doing it. And Lucas can do all the Van Halen shit, man. And I think at the time, like maybe we're even like playing Panama or something for some reason, like I think, and yeah. So he was like in the Van Halen mode and came up with that and started jamming, and it got captured, and it seemed like a valid piece, like no, this is more than just like a silly stupid idea. And one other cool thing about it, I mean, it's just very simple. It is essentially an intro to Poltergeist. Ended up being that way because they just they mesh. But then
Absolutely.
in the studio, Lucas was goofing around Mike. By the way, we recorded with Mike from Devil Driver, Mike Spreitzer. And
Oh,
who
okay.
I didn't know him from fucking. I don't know him at all. Well, I do now. I worked with him, but like that's because Lucas was in a band called Heaven Below, with Patrick Kinnison, and they had worked together. And then actually Lucas filled in for Mike when he couldn't do a show, which was Knot Fest in Mexico City with Devil Driver. So I mean that's kind of crazy in itself, right? But like when we were thinking of people to record with, and like Luke was like, I really think Mike would be very good. We should give it a shot, you know. And so we did, and anyway, so we're recording in Mike's studio in Torrance, and he has a lot of pedals. He really likes pedals, Mike does, which is cool, and that's what I think is very awesome. Like card in a producer's deck. I think you should like pedals and different sounds and things to play with. And we're actually playing this, and there's this like synth sound. That's not a synth. That's just like some weird chorus modulator pedal, and with delay on it and weird sounds. And I thought that was to me it sounded like Styx. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. I don't know why, but it did. That's what it reminded me of. And so when we got our first mixes back, I'm like, no, that part has to be like pump that up. Don't bury that. Like, doo-doo. It hits something.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's the instrumental track.
Awesome. And obviously it goes directly into Poltergeist, which again, it's very unique. It's very unique in the placement of the record. So I just really appreciated that as well.
It is cool, man. And that's kind of like, that's a fun actual album thing. It's a breath. It's a smoke break song. It's it's something that maybe a lot of bands don't do that much anymore. And that was pretty regular back in the day.
Absolutely, man.
Ingredients to throw in there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you mentioned Van Halen, right? 1984.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Now let's talk Poltergeist. It's super heavy track. I mean, like, the first riff just like is super crushing. So again, man, this sounds like something you would come up with. I just
I did. Oh, did I? I think I did. No, here's the deal. Well, that was an old riff. We should have recorded this song a long time ago. In fact, I think that we had submitted this song back when we were recording Dehumanize. That's how old this riff is from. And it is very stoner. It's a stoner rock riff. And I think I came up with, I think I'll take credit for that one. But it's been so long ago. Don't send the lawyers out to me. I don't know. But like it was cool. And it was something that was like it was either shelved or misplaced, or like, yeah, we had forgotten about it. And yeah, we when it's time for we wrote this album. That being said, our last live gig, because we're always doing live gigs, and it just always, was September 11th, 2019. And we finished this entire album, the whole process from like zero. But obviously we're pulling from the past, but still, like within 3 months, but it just worked really. I feel like we worked very hard on it, And but that being said, where do we get these ideas? And remember this one? Oh yeah, that was cool. So that was an old idea, and it's kind of once again outside. It's a different song. That's our stoner rock song, and also, and I think all these songs really like just Lucas just makes it. It's for me a pretty simple song. I don't do much. I do a little some like Danzig style, John Christ style fill / solos.
Absolutely.
Is there actually? I don't think there was like an actual main guitar solo in that. There's just like riffage in the middle. And and then Lucas came out with a bing, a bing, a bing. He came up with that just in the studio. He just like, man, this guy is a pretty like. He just heard it in his fucking head, man. And I was doing my parts. He was like, "Oh wait, can I see the guitar?" And he just like, "Let me try this. This might be cool." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. That's on the chorus." And so like, that's the part I played on. But that's his part.
But there is something to be said about not having a solo for every song too.
Yeah, man. And that was, they overdid it in certain eras where like, no, we're never gonna have solos again. That stuff's never coming back. No one likes. But yeah, having a variance is cool. So there's like a little fill in between like verse 1 and verse 2 and an outro solo. It's like I said, a pretty simple song for me, which is fun.
Absolutely.
I like to just rock
Absolutely.
out, I think.
So track 9, Infierno, Fire,
Inferno. Yeah.
which is what this song is. Here's let me blow some smoke real quick, as I call it. Right.
Oh, cool.
It's
Nice.
a very melodic piece. It literally sums up the whole record for me. It has all the elements of all the previous songs combined into like one song, which is what I always felt was the perfect closing track to any record. Was you needed to have either a bombastic, just like cutthroat killer,
Like Dyer's Eve.
yeah, or you have elements of every song that was prevalent on the record, put it all in one song, and then that's the closing. So that's what this one is for me. I could be totally wrong on it, but again, walk me through it, man.
So Inferno, this is another song that Lucas presented, and I'm just trying to think if there's any exceptions about the tune. Now he pretty much had this one all mapped out from the beautiful beginning, which is just gorgeous. um, and then, but there's a trick to it, and that was like, it's like, yeah, I wanted to like kind of lure people in, and then you think the song is going this certain way, and boom. And it's, yeah, he wrote all these riffs. Actually, it's actually the next riff. I mean, it's a challenging song rhythmically to do. And then around the tour we had just done before that, we had covered a Thin Lizzy song, which is, and I want to say the name of it, but I can't think what it is. But and I think that was still fresh in our just blood, and he wrote this middle section that he does like a killer fucking solo, and I'm just like banging out power chords and shit, and then we do this very cool, very Thin Lizzy, very awesome dual harmony there, which is, if you have two guitars in a band, you should do this stuff. And then it goes into a next section, and we had to kind of figure out how to get into it. It goes back into the intro again, and then like the big outro, which there's to me for some reason the song, even though the riffs are not like this, to me this is like overall a very Def Leppard song, like from Pyromania era.
I could see that. That makes sense, dude. It makes total sense.
I love this tune, and then so this outro, so it was very open-ended, man. And I had written the first half, so it's kind of cool. We're going back. He's singing. Actually, I don't know what is it. And then I answer him and stuff like that. And then, but it builds and builds, and I do like kind of an outro solo stuff. I mean, kind of actually fade to blackish, really. And this was my last day of recording, and we were running out of time, and I started to feel the pressure, because like the end of it was fucking improv, which is, improv's fun, but like you're kind of under the gun, and it's got to sound cool. And so like we were just like riffing and just going and putting it together, man. It turned out fucking awesome. Like the outro part of it. So I had like a lot of the song. I think it's very pretty. It's a very beautiful song. And this once again is a little bit. I mean, is it a ballad? I mean, there's some kind of is a ballad, but it fucking rips as well. So it's kind of there's more to it. It's not like an 80s ballad or anything like that. But then again, it has some like very beautiful parts to it, but then very heavy parts to it. But it's not like. It's not 2000 style. Remember 2000 style where it's like one or the other. Like, we're super heavy. Oh, now we're super, very pretty for a second. I'm angry. I'm happy, but I'm sad. No, it's done differently. but it has different elements, and it's a great song. And the fact that it fades out and just with fucking ripping, like kick ass.
But
rock
it
out solo.
But it like I said, it encapsulates literally the rest of the record in one song, and I think that's the perfect closing kind of track for me.
Yeah, that one just set it itself. I think there was no question that song was going to close the album.
So that is pretty much great for Rising, Erik. You know,
Great for Rising,
right?
Our first full-length LP.
That's not true at all, dude. That's bullshit, dude. You can go back to episode 1 and your whole career. So, you know, you got tons of shit. I was just saying for this specific project, technically, on a technicality wise, right? This your mindset. This is your first LP.
Yeah, it's great. I'm very proud of it, and we did work harder on this one. We just did. I think we wanted to one up everything.
But especially during a time when everyone has downtime, you want to one up everything. You want to.
But we didn't know that at the time. Nothing was shut down. When we wrote it, everything was just normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We wrote it all before everything shut down. That just worked out for us to focus just on finishing that record.
Absolutely.
Because live gigs were canceled.
Well, Erik, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and hanging with me and talking the record but before we get out of here, I always like to give out the links where people can find the album, people can check it out. Give me all your links, man.
Void Vator, VOIDVATOR. And we're on all the platforms. So whichever, choose your poison. If you're an Apple person, go to Apple Music. If you're a Spotify person, go YouTube person, go there. Amazon person. If you're a physical copy person, you can order through Bandcamp. You can order through us. You can order through Ripple Music. You can see us live and just get it right there because maybe you don't trust online orders. I mean, we've got all the bases covered.
Absolutely. Well, Erik, and like I said, thanks so much again for coming on the show, man. It really means a lot. You are the alumni. I will always,
I'm proud.
You always got a fucking a spot here on Poppitt's Corner. So another episode, guys. I'm out of here. Cheers.